What is up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers. This is my main event breakdown and prediction for UFC Vegas 78. We got Vicente Luque going against Rafael dos Anjos.
I need all the wins, yeah. Harder than all of this. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out.
And we are back for another main event breakdown and prediction this week, breaking down Rafael dos Anjos, Vicente Luque. We are back in the Apex after a couple cards outside the Apex here, but we are going to witness a pretty good fight here. It's a fight where, honestly, there's a lot of red flags on really both sides, I'd say. It's a very fascinating matchup, a matchup that, as you guys can tell, is lined pretty closely, for a reason here. But yeah, can't wait to break it down, can't wait to talk about it. We'll see if we can find some betting spots on this fight, which, I don't know. I mean, it's honestly kind of a sketchy fight, but from a fan perspective, I think it's a very fun fight. I don't remember the last time there was a boring Vicente Luque fight. I mean, maybe the Bilal Muhammad fight, but outside of that, Vicente Luque is always in wars, always in exciting fights, and I don't see why that's going to change in this one here. So before we get into it, if you guys can please leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you have not already. That is much appreciated. Lots of content coming this week for UFC Vegas 78, as well as Contender Series is making a return. Tuesday night is week 1 of Dana White's Contender Series. I'll be breaking down the entire card. We got 5 great fights to kick off the year here with Contender Series, and that is going to be out sometime Monday. So make sure you do subscribe so you don't miss out on some Dana White's Contender Series content. Really excited to be doing some DWCS content this year. But with all that out of the way, I say we get into it. And we're going to start with the tail of the tape here. We'll kick it to Vicente Luque, who is 31 years old, 5'11", with a 76-inch reach. He is 21, 9-1, and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Rafael dos Anjos, he is 38 years old, 5'8", with a 70-inch reach, 32-14, and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. So let's see where these odds opened up. So we have Rafael dos Anjos opening up -150. He is currently sitting at -120. And Vicente Luque opened up +130. He's currently sitting at +100. And you'll hear it a lot this week, unless this line does change. And what you're going to hear a lot this week is the fact that Vicente Luque in the UFC, he has never been an underdog, never closed as an underdog. And like I said, that could potentially change throughout the week. I don't have a great read on, really where this line's going to go. But, as of now, this is the first time Vicente Luque is an underdog in the UFC. So let's start with the Vicente Luque side. So Vicente Luque is coming off of, and I think this is the first time I've ever said this, but he's coming off of a brain hemorrhage, which is I'm not a doctor or anything, but it's brain bleeding, which it kind of sounds to me like he probably shouldn't, be fighting, but apparently he's been cleared. He's coming back, and the last time he did fight was against Jeff Neal, and at that point, it was almost a year ago. So, apparently had a bunch of health problems, which is, that's scary, man. I mean, in that Jeff Neal fight, this guy, Vicente Luque, well, in all of his fights, he takes a lot of damage, but it was that Jeff Neal fight specifically where, he took a lot of damage in that fight. He got dropped in the first round, just beat up bad in the first round, and then, eventually, Jeff Neal put it on Vicente Luque. He hurt him in the 3rd round, and it was so bad that even Keith Peterson had to stop the fight. I mean, he just flatlined Vicente Luque. So he's coming off of a brutal beatdown. I mean, this guy's in a lot of beatdowns. This is a guy in Luque who has taken a lot of damage. I worry about the guy. This is a guy in Luque who, in 31 fights, that was the first time he's ever been knocked out. But he has been, taken a ton of damage throughout his career, and I think that is going to absolutely add up. And on top of that, the whole, the brain bleeding. I mean, it's scary. What is Vicente going to look like after a beatdown like that against Jeff Neal? So, and then on the flip side, you got Rafael dos Anjos, who is just small, man, for the welterweight division. I mean, we have flyweights who are bigger than this guy. This guy's 5'8", and I think at lightweight, it's his best weight class by a mile. RDA at lightweight is an absolute problem. We've seen that. RDA at welterweight, I think he's good, but it seems like he struggles with the size of a lot of these guys up at welterweight. And is he going to go out there and take down Vicente Luque. And I think that's what people might think here. RDA is going to be able to take down and control Vicente Luque, which it could happen. We saw Belal Muhammad go out there and do that to Vicente Luque, but Belal Muhammad is a guy that, what is Belal Muhammad? Probably like 5'10", 5'11". He's not a small dude for welterweight. Let me see exactly what he is. Yeah, he's 5'11". I mean, he's not a small dude whatsoever. And yeah, Belal Muhammad was able to take down Vicente Luque. Luque was controlled for a good portion of that fight, right? But is 38-year-old, 5'8", RDA going to be able to do that to Vicente Luque? And I'm not sure. I feel like he could. But I said the same thing in the Belal Muhammad fight, and it didn't really seem to matter. But I'm going to say the same thing here. I mean, 15 minutes in the cage with Vicente Luque is a very, very long time. 25 minutes in the cage with Vicente Luque is a very, very, very long time. I mean, this guy, Vicente Luque, is going to be dangerous from the start of the fight, to the very end. This guy has a ton of power. RDA typically a durable guy, but he has been finished by knockout, a few times in the UFC. And I just feel like at some point, as long as Luque's all right, I mean, as long as he did take the proper time off, at some point in this fight, I feel like he will be able to land a big shot here and knock out RDA, who, like I said, is now 38 years old. Another guy in RDA who has taken a ton of damage. I mean, this guy RDA has like 46 fights. So I just feel like at some point Luque is going to land a big shot and put him out across 25 minutes. I don't know whether it's early, whether it's late, whether it's mid-fight. I just feel like at some point Luque is going to, stand his ground and land a big shot here. But I do expect RDA to win a lot of minutes with the wrestling, with the grappling. I saw, I went back and watched the Vicente Luque fight with Belal Muhammad, and Luque was making a lot of mistakes on the mat, which is definitely worrisome here. He was giving up his back pretty much every single time, which, was he doing that because it was against Belal Muhammad? I mean, if he does that against RDA, he might even get submitted. But yeah, he was making mistakes on the mat. I did not like to see that. There's a lot of red flags, man, on both sides. I don't like RDA at 170. And I don't like the fact that Vicente Luque's taken, life-changing damage and is coming back after, like, a serious health issue. So it's a sketchy fight. I'm going to ever so lean with the underdog and Vicente Luque. I mean, this is the first time we are getting him at underdog money for what it's worth. And as long as he's all right, I mean, I think he beats 38-year-old RDA. But yeah, it's a sketchy fight that I really don't want a ton to do with, to be honest. So yeah, I mean, right now RDA minus 120, Luque plus 100. I don't really want to put money on Luque at this point. I mean, if this line gets wider in favor of RDA, I might have to, because I feel like if we do get the best version of Luque, I expect him to be the bigger fighter. I expect him, if he gets taken down, to get back up, and then when this is on the feet, although I think RDA is a really good striker, Luque is just dangerous, man. So, but yeah, no interest as of now from a betting perspective. The over-under set at 4.5 rounds. The under is juiced to minus 135 at this point. It actually opened up plus 105. I wouldn't mind the under 4.5 at plus money, but I could see a situation where RDA does take this fight down to the mat, and Luque is able to fight off these submission attempts, and it does go 25. I think if there's a finish, it is more than likely on the Luque side. Luque getting a finish, unless Luque is compromised still, right? Or if Luque does give his back to RDA, I think he could potentially get subs. So I would lean under, but minus 135, it's nothing I'm really, running to the window for. So I'm going to pick Vicente Luque. Officially, I'll say like a third round knockout. I think at some point he will find the chin of RDA, but it's a fight where I don't have a ton of confidence on. It's not like the Sandhagen Font fight where I had a ton of confidence on Sandhagen. And yeah, I mean, I'm going to go Luque just with like little to no confidence in this one. Third round knockout for me. Probably not betting on this main event, so, which is fine. I mean, you don't have to bet on every fight. I think there's a lot better spots on this card. So that's about it. Be on the lookout for the full card breakdown prediction video. I'm going to try to get it out on Monday. Nice early release. I have 11 out of the 12 fights taped already. I need to tape the Juliana Miller fight still, unfortunately. So I'll be getting to that probably tonight. And yeah, that should be out tomorrow as well on Monday. And then also the Contender Series content as well. So be on the lookout for all of that. Leave a like on your way out. Subscribe to the channel. I'll be getting a ton of content out. It's going to be an absolute grind trying to tape an extra 5 fights a week for Contender Series. But I love doing it. Love watching it. and hopefully you guys enjoyed as well. Best of luck for UFC Vegas 78, and we'll talk to you soon. See you guys later.